Uh, I suggest please turn off your I mean audio. Yes. Okay. So the name of the subject is advanced algorithm. Okay. And today we are going to start with something called as a randomized algorithm. Okay. So what is this randomized algorithms? So as the name suggests, there is something random, okay, about this. So you know what is the deterministic algorithms. Whatever you have studied so far, those come under the category of deterministic algorithms. So what do you mean by deterministic algorithms? Deterministic algorithms has I mean the output, the produced output. Okay, you can always have a particular output for a particular input. Okay, and generally we are always concerned with the polynomial time algorithms because yes, we can solve also in polynomial time. So let us see this. So this is a typical deterministic algorithms. You are having some inputs, you pass it through algorithm, it produces some output. But what is the goal of deterministic algorithms? Actually, our goal is to prove that for all input, so whatever the possibilities of input, for all such possibilities of input, the algorithm solves that problem correctly. And basically, as you said, it runs in polynomial time. Okay, so remember this is very important. Polynomial time, for example, if some algorithm runs in, let's say, its upper bound is n square, so it is polynomial time. If some algorithm runs in n to the power k, okay, where k is some integer whose upper bound is n to the power k, that is also a polynomial time algorithm. Okay, so for example, let me tell you the simple example, quicksort. Okay, so quicksort is a deterministic algorithm. Okay, so what we do is, anybody, what we do in quicksort? Yes, uh, we partition based on what? Yes, we fix some pivot, and then based on pivot we partition the array. Very correct. Okay, okay, what is the usual position of pivot? Yes, Shail, Yash, what is the usual no, I'm not telling about the, yes, or from the original input. Okay, either we select most yes, as you say, most firstly you take either the first element or the last element. Of course you can take any element as a pivot. Okay, it doesn't matter. But mostly if you use the earlier algorithms, okay, that you have studied, usually people take last element as a pivot or the first element as a pivot. Okay, so so I can come up with always an input in which it will behave in a worse way. For example, if you take a first or last element, okay, and if the quicksort input is like this, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. If this is an input, okay, what will happen if you take a first element as a pivot or last element as a pivot, any of them? Okay, so what will happen? Getting my question? This is an input to the quicksort 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, it's already sorted. Okay, you know, but quicksort has to run. I'm talking about the pivot. So if you take last element as a pivot, okay, I need to iterate through all. Very correct, Harsh. Okay, Chintan is saying worst case. Very correct. Okay, why it will be the worst case? Because it is already proper position. If you take this last element as a pivot, so pivot element will be what, 50, and it is already at proper position. So the one partition would be, yes. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Pivot is already at proper position, and second partition is blank. You can say I have written like this. 50 is already at proper position. So all comparisons will done, and 10, 20, 30, 40 will be on one side, and on the other side it is a blank. Am I correct or not? Yes. Am I saying correct or not? This will happen? Yes. So what is the partition? On one side you have n minus 1 elements. The partition is like this. The partition happens on one side there are 4 elements. On left side, left hand side you have 4 elements and 0 elements on right hand side. Whose left and right side? The pivot's left side there will be 4 elements. Okay, 10, 20, 30, 40. In the right side of the pivot there will be 0 elements. So in general, if there are total n elements, which is n is equal to 5 here, then n minus 1 elements will be on the left hand side according to this input, and 0 elements would be at right hand side. And these things are recursively solved, right? Now the call is going to be made for this 10, 20, 30, 40. And same thing will happen. 40 will be the pivot, and again 10, 20, 30 would be the left partition. 40 is already a proper position, and the right partition is blank. Yes, everybody is getting what I'm trying to say? Everybody is getting what I'm trying to say? Yes. There are many persons. I hope you are getting, right? So what will be the recurrence? Can anybody write the recurrence for this idea? If you are having Pn, yes, Janet, partially correct. There is a slight addition in that. You missed, I think, the partition C. No, Cn, because you need to compare every element with the pivot. Is it or not, Janet? Yes. So how much cost will be there for comparing a pivot? N minus 1 comparisons will be, so order of n? Yes or no? Is partition algorithm, okay, needs to run, which compares the pivot with every other element. So it would be Pn. Yes, very correct. Now can you write updated equation, Janik? It is correct. Tn is equal to Tn minus 1 plus T of 0 plus what? Cn, very correct. Because T0 is, I mean, T0 means the 0. Why? Because n is equal to 0, that means nothing. Okay, so T0 is 0. So you will have Tn is equal to Tn minus 1 plus Cn. And if you solve this, what will be the answer? If you solve this, you must have studied the various ways to solve this. It's like this. If you n is equal to 5, then it will be T5. Okay, order of n, very correct. Okay, it will be a sum like 1 plus 2 plus 3, so on Cn minus 1 in plus Cn, so on. So it's the sum of first n terms, so which will be O of n square. So what is my point? My point is, if you fix the pivot, that means no matter which position you take, first, last, middle, if you fix a pivot position, then I can always come with an input on which you will have a worst case. I can always, okay, give you one input. Okay, I will always be able to give you one input. Okay, so that worst case happens. What is the worst case? N square. Okay. So this thing is also true for the first element as a pivot or any. So if you take any fixed element as a pivot, then this thing can happen. Am I saying true or not? Am I saying true or not? Yes. Okay. What about others? Yes. Yes. So means the fixing a pivot position is actually giving somebody the hint that what type of input if I give to this algorithm. So n square number of comparisons, which are worst case number of comparisons, will occur. I want to do something so that this can be improved. Okay. So what is the one idea? One idea is, okay, don't take fixed element as a pivot. Okay. Choose pivot randomly. Okay, and then use that pivot. So it may be that in first iteration, you take a last element as a pivot. Then in a second recursive call, because it's a recursion, right? So in every recursive call, there would be a pivot. But the pivot, you will not fix a first or last or middle element or any other element. Okay, every time you select a particular random element, okay, and use that as a pivot and then do the partition. And then what this is called a randomization. Okay, what we have done, we have just taken pivot randomly in every recursive call, taken pivot position randomly, okay, in every recursive call. Okay, so if you do this, what will be the benefit? You will say, what's the benefit of this? The benefit is that on an average, okay, running time, okay, which is also known as an expected running time, on an average running time will be O of n log n. And that how it will happen, that we will see in the next lecture. But I hope you are getting the motivation behind studying the randomized algorithm. So the average running time would be reduced. So this is a simple example. There are so many other examples. Okay. Yes. What about others? I don't know the names because I'm teaching you for the first time, right? But hope you are getting right. Yes. Okay. Fine. So let us understand the randomized algorithms. Okay. So in randomized algorithms, in addition to this input, we also give some source of random numbers. For example, for quicksort, randomized quicksort, we will give the random numbers which indicate the position of pivot in every recursive call. Okay, for example. So in addition to input, we also give some random input. Okay, it takes both and produces an output. Okay, so you can see that a source of random numbers is also taken as an input, which makes a random choices during execution. So this point is very important. Last one, behavior of an algorithm can vary even on the fixed input. So remember, even if you give fixed input, if you fix this input, but if you change this source of random number, if you change this random number, the behavior will change. What do you mean by behavior? Okay, sorry, there is a question. It's average case. Yes, Jagdish, there is a specific term that is called expected running time. Actually, I should mention a running time. Running time itself is a random variable. And so to find out the average means it would be an expectation. But since I have not covered the concept of expectation, that's why I was telling it average. So yes, you can say on an average, Quicksort takes n log n comparisons. But definitely for a particular input, okay, if you fix the pivot position fix, I can always come with an input on which the worst case will happen. It would be quite difficult to come up with an input on which worst case will happen if you use this randomized way. That is what I was meant for an average. Are you getting, Jagdish, what I'm trying to say? Yes. Okay. So don't worry. This expected running time that I will come up with in a short time. Okay. So behavior. What do you mean by behavior can vary on a fixed input? So even if you fix the input, but if you change this random numbers, I mean the behavior of an algorithm will change. So it may happen that number of comparisons. Generally, if it's a sorting, we are interested in number of comparisons. So number of comparisons would change. Okay, it would little bit up or down based on the random input that you are giving in a randomized quicksort. So this thing can happen. Okay, so remember, even for a fixed input, okay, the behavior of the output means in case of sorting, it would be number of comparisons can vary slightly. Okay, depending on the random numbers. Okay, so not only the input plays a role in running time, but the source of random numbers that you are giving also plays a important role. Okay, So there are two types of randomized algorithm. So this is a very important question. Okay, from exam point of view, the one is called Las Vegas randomized algorithms. Okay, and the second is called a Monte Carlo randomized algorithms. These are not particular name of algorithms. Remember, these are the categories of algorithms. Okay, so few algorithms can belongs to Las Vegas type. Okay, the good example would be randomized quicksort. Okay, the idea I already gave to you. You select the pivot randomly at every moment, and then find out the average expected running time. So that would be under the category of Las Vegas. And the second type of category of algorithm is called Monte Carlo algorithms. Okay, so this is both are randomized algorithms, both uses random numbers, but there is a difference between both. Okay, so what is this difference? Okay, so let us try to see. Okay, so the important thing in Las Vegas is always going to produce the correct output. Okay, so you can see, so you will say why I am writing this correct output. Okay, algorithm should be always correct, right? So many times you are saying yes, but sometimes it may not be the case. Okay, but if you talk about randomized algorithms, and in that Las Vegas type of algorithms, okay, this will always produce the correct answer. Okay, it all 100% correct answer will be given. Okay, so what would be our goal if you design new algorithm? Okay, you have to prove that for all input instances the algorithm solves the problem correctly. No matter कोई भी input दो आप, so the output would be correct only. Just like sorting, right? So if you give any input, the output should be sorted, whether it is a randomized or not. Output should be sorted, right? So that's why the randomized quicksort comes under Las Vegas. So whatever the input you give for quicksort, randomized quicksort, it will always produce a correct sorted output, irrespective of what are the random numbers. Okay. Then what is that we are trying to prove? As I mentioned, to query expected number of steps is bounded by a polynomial in input size. Okay. So there is something called random variable which we are going to see shortly. Okay, if you have a random variable of a probability distribution, then you have something called E of X. Don't worry, if you don't know, I will cover. Okay, but E of X is an expected value of random variable X. X is a random variable. Okay, so that similarly, so for Las Vegas, this point is very important. Running time is a random variable. Remember, running time is a random variable. RV stands for random variable. Which type of algorithms I'm talking about? Las Vegas. Okay, the running time is a random variable. Why? Because if you change the random number, running time will change. So the running time itself is a random variable, so which can take different values. So if you change random numbers, if you take one set of random numbers, running time is X. If you take another set of random numbers, running time is Y. So I am trying to talk about average of this. So that means expectation of this. Okay. So that is my interest, that running time, expected running time, okay, should be bounded by a polynomial. That means it should be a polynomial time algorithm. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Vishrut, Aneri, others, Jagdish, Abhi, Shail, Rishi. Yes, what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. Okay. So, and remember the expectation is over the random choices made by input. Okay. So the next thing is Monte Carlo algorithm. So this is little bit different. The same model, right? Input, random numbers, and output. But here, algorithm may not give always the correct answer. So we have to prove that with high probability, okay, the problem is solved correctly. Okay, And for every input, the expected number of steps is polynomial. That means it should run in polynomial time, and with high probability, it should give a correct answer. So remember, this is called the Monte Carlo type of algorithms. Remember, the strategy is different. In Monte Carlo algorithm, it will not necessarily give always the correct optimal answer. Okay, so it may or may not give. That is not in our hands. Okay, but what I want to do, my goal should be what? With high probability. Okay, with high probability, I want to get correct answer. That should be my goal. Okay, correct output. Okay, so you will say which particular set of algorithms are coming under this category. You will see there is a mean cut algorithm. Okay, randomized mean cut algorithm. These are hard problems actually to solve. So we use the randomization and try to get an answer. Okay, and what I will show that with a very high probability, okay, I will get a correct answer. So remember, in Monte Carlo algorithm may give you false answer. Means false answer means uh, uh, not correct answer, not exact optimal answer. Okay, so and so my goal would be to reduce the probability of error. So remember, I will reduce error is there, right, in outcome. So reduce the probability of error. That would be my goal. Okay, so this is a Monte Carlo algorithm, and one good example is randomized mean cut algorithm, which we will see in detail. Don't worry, this is just to give you an overview. Okay. Okay, so high probability, not in optimization. Okay, what? Okay, one thing. Uh, Optimization. Actually, what we are going to do, we are randomly making the choices to solve the problem, and that what we will do in order to reduce the probability of error. Okay, it's mean cut. Mean cut is actually a minimization problem. Okay, so I want to get a mean cut. So actually, what we do is I don't want, I mean, incorrect answer. So I want to use a randomization. So I will do random choices, and after doing random choices, okay, I have to prove that whatever the choices I have made, okay, with high probability, let's say I say with 90% probability, it will give you the correct answer. And to reduce the error probability, the 10% is an error. So to reduce that probability, I would use one thing called repetition. So repeatedly do that experiment, and if all experiments are favoring towards one side, that means I would believe that most things are favored towards this outcome. So I will believe that outcome is high probability correct. Are you getting, Shailesh, what I am trying to say? And again, I should say that wait till the algorithms. Okay, and another question is, what is advantage of this algorithms over merge sort? Klishil, you want to tell about randomized quicksort over merge sort? Is that your question? Yes. So as you know, merge sort runs in n log n, irrespective of that, but it is not an in-place sort. It requires an additional memory, right? While quicksort is do not require additional memory for sorting the data. So in merge sort, definitely we do in every recursive merge call. I mean, in every call. Okay. So that way you can compare. Okay. So yes, this is very important question. Why should we Monte Carlo algorithm should be used if there is a chance of error? Okay. Uh, yes, machine learning. That is all. Yes, in that randomized algorithms are there. Okay, But if you are not familiar with that machine learning, what I should say rather is, uh, if it is a hard problem to solve, I hope you are knowing what is the NP hard problem, NP complete problem. Yes or no, Jagdish? Yes or no? So there are various ways to solve those problems, because I cannot get a polynomial time solution for those set of problems. So then I should go for approximate algorithms. And one of the way to approximate a solution is the randomization. Okay, there are many ways to approximate solutions. So there is a topic called approximation algorithms. Okay, and one way to get a approximate solution is through randomization. Then you will say, what is an advantage of this? The basic advantage is I have a polynomial time solution for that. But definitely it is not an optimal or the exact solution. But I get an approximate solution with a reasonable time. I hope that makes sense, Jagdish. Randomization is not a problem. Okay, randomization is a way. Okay, if you say randomize quicksort, that becomes a problem. Rishil, are you getting what I am saying? Randomization is not a specific problem. Randomization means like choosing a pivot randomly rather than fixing it. That would say I am introducing a randomization for solving quicksort. Okay, randomization is NP problem. I cannot say that. If you attach randomization with something, some problem, and then maybe I would be able to say whether it is NP or not. I hope you are satisfied with the answer. Krishil, getting? Yes? Okay. Yes, fine. So let us move ahead. Don't worry, everything will be clear, but it takes some time, okay? Wait for 1 or 2 lectures, most of the things will be clear. Okay, so this Monte Carlo type of algorithms. Okay, so with high probability it solves the problem correctly, and our goal is to maximize this probability that our output is correct. Okay, let us try to see the basics first of all. Okay, before looking anything, okay, there is a little bit math which is required for understanding this concept. So through very easy concept, please pay attention, even if you know, because these things are very much crucial for analysis of algorithms. Sometimes what happens is people may understand the logic of algorithm but cannot analyze it. For randomized algorithms, we require certain fundamentals of probability, okay, and expectation and everything. Okay, because we will find expected running time. So let us try to understand that thing. Okay, so what is a random variable? Okay, so the random variable, okay, so this is a very simple example. If you toss a fair coin 2 times, okay, if you toss a fair coin 2 times, so one time if you toss a coin, it will be either head or tails. Second time if you toss a coin, it will be either head or tails. So total number of ways are what? So sample space, this is called sample space, the set of all possible outcomes. Okay, what is a set of all possible outcomes? So for both times head tail head, or tail tail, these are the possible outcomes. Okay, so there are 4 possible outcomes, and that makes a set called a sample space. So remember this thing, although you are knowing this, the sample space means what? Is the set of all possible outcomes. Set of all possible outcomes or events is known as a sample space. Now, what is a random variable then? You know, you must have studied this. The random variable is like a function which maps every outcome. These are outcomes, okay, to some real number, to some real value. Okay, so random variable is acting like a function which maps every outcome like HH, HT, TH, and TT to some real value. Real value means it could be 1.5, it could be 2, -2, anything. Okay, it can be negative also. It's a real value. Okay, so what is this? For example, let me consider that X is a random variable which indicates number of heads in omega. So X of omega means number of heads in omega. So let's say omega is this HH, HT, TH, and T. So how many heads are there? 2, right? HH, HT, 1 head, TH, 1 head, TT, okay, 0 head. So TT both are tails, nothing is here. So what is here random variable? The random variable here is the counting of number of heads. Number of heads, you count the number of heads is X. So it would vary, right? Because if both are heads, then number of heads is 2. If one is head and second is tail, or vice versa, number of heads is 1. So it's a variable because it can take different value. But that is not in your control. That's why it's a random. Because if you toss a coin, okay, there are 4 possibilities, and you can get any any possibility, okay, out of this 4. So this is a random variable. So this is a real value. Counting the number of heads is a real value. So so what I can do is this is called a probability distribution of random variable. And what is that? So I plot 0, 1, and 2. Why? Because the random variable can take 3 values. What are the values that random variable can take? 0, 1, and 2. Can somebody tell me what is probability that X equal to 0? That random variable takes a 0 value in this experiment, X equal to 1, and what is the probability that X equal to 2? Okay, very correct. X equal to 0 is 1 by 4. What about X equal to 1? 1 by 2. Vidur is very correct. And yes. And what is again X equal to 2? 2 heads. What is the probability of 2 heads again? 1 by 4. Very correct. So this is called a probability distribution because on x-axis there is a random variable and the probability is on y-axis. So you can see here, this is 1 by 4, this is 1/2, and total probability definitely it is 1. Okay, so this is known as a probability distribution of a random variable. This graph where random variable takes a particular value, this is called a discrete probability distribution. So let us give a second example just to make sure that you understand. So if you roll a fair die twice, okay, so there is a die, and if you there are 6 sides. So if you roll one time, it is 1 to 6. Second time, it is 1 to 6. So total 36 outcomes, as you know, 1 1 1 2 1 6 2 6 1 2 6 6. 36 outcomes, and my sum of the random variable indicates sum of the numbers obtained in each row. Okay, for example, 1 1. So you take a sum, it's 1 plus 1 2, 1 plus 2 3. Okay, so can somebody tell me what would be the minimum value that random variable can take, and what is the maximum value? Minimum is 2. Rishi, very correct. What is the maximum value? 36. 12. Okay, it's a sum. Okay, that's why I said. So it can take a value between 2 to 12. Any value between 2, 3, 4 up to 12. So now if I find what is the probability that it is 2, there is just a one outcome, 1 1. Okay, and which means out of 36 there is just a 1 by 36. What is the probability that random variable takes a 3? So there are two things. 1 2 can cause 3, and 2 plus 1 is also 3. So 2 outcomes out of 36. These are 36, right? 6 into 6, there are 36 outcomes. Out of these 36 outcomes, okay, these are 36. Out of these 36, this is 2 outcomes, which sums to 3. Same way for 3 is 1 3 2 2 3 1. And this way you can find for all, okay, for x equal to 12, again it is 1 by 36. So just one outcome, 6 comma 6. It sums to 12. Okay, so this is about a random variable. Yes, everybody is clear the concept of probability distribution and the answer of that. Our important thing is something special called IRV, and it is known as indicator random variable. Our special interest is here, indicator random variable. This is a special type of random variable, and remember, this is very useful in analysis. Okay, we will frequently use this indicator random variable. Let's see what is that. So indicator random variable is associated with event. So I is means indicator random variable with event A. What do you mean by event? Event means this all things are event. Like if you HH is one event, HT is one event. Similarly, that 2, 5, if you roll a die, that is one event. So any subset of a sample space is event. Okay, 2, 5. अगर आप दो बार die roll कर रहे हो तो first time 2 and second time 5, that is one event. Okay, HT is one event in a coin toss example. Okay, yes, right. So indicator random variable. So it takes only two values. It's a binary variable. So if that event occurs, it takes a value 1, and if that event does not occur, it takes a value 0. Okay, this is very much useful for analysis. So please remember this. Any event A, okay, the random variable associated with that is taking 1 and 0 value. अगर वो event होगी तो then it will be 1, it takes a 1, otherwise it will be 0. Okay, so it has just two values, 0 and 1. So it's also a binary type of random variable. Let us take example. So if I toss a coin once, the sample space consists of head and tail. Okay, let's say my event is head. Okay, so what is so when if you toss a coin one time and if you get a head, then your answer is 1. If you get a tail, then your answer is 0. So your interest is head. Okay, so if head is obtained, then that random variable gets a value 1. And if tail is obtained, then that random variable gets a value 0. Okay, so this thing I of h is also written in compact way like this. Okay, x, then you write a subscript h. So what is the meaning of that? X subscript h means it is an indicator random variable associated with head. Event is head. Okay, so when head occurs, this I of h is 1. When tail occurs, this I of h is 0. So x of h is indicator random variable associated with event head. And as I mentioned, this is very important tool to analyze randomized algorithms. Yes, you are getting right. What is the difference between normal random variable and indicator random variable? Yash is saying yes. What about others? Visruth, Fenil, Priyank, yes. B. Sayani.
Sir, can you explain random variable once again, normal random variable?
Normal random variable, Sayanish, it can take any real value. For example, as I mentioned here, this random value is like 2, 3 up to 12. So this was an example, right? So here it would take any value. My random variable is sum of the numbers. So if you take a 1, 1, it will be 1 plus 1, 2. If you take 3, 2, it will be 3 plus 2, 5. So it can take any value 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 12 because maximum value is 6 plus 6, 12. Right? This is a normal random variable. So random variable is any function, okay, which maps the sample space, every outcome of sample space to real value. Okay, so any outcome to real value. But if this real value is strictly 0 or 1, it would become indicator random variable. So indicator random variable can take a Boolean values only. And if the event occurs, then it would be 1. If event does not occur, then it would take a 0 value. I hope it is clear, Sayanish. Yes? Okay. So again, I am saying don't worry. Everything will be clear when we do actually the things. Okay. Then, as I mentioned, somebody would say, why I am telling this? Because I will analyze the algorithm's expected running time. As I mentioned, the running time would be random variable for Las Vegas. This is very important. Las Vegas algorithms, the running time, okay, is itself a random variable. So then we are going to find average running time, which is called expected running time. So that's why I also cover a concept of expectation of random variable. So what is an expected running expectation of random variable? So you take a value of a random variable and the probability of that, multiply it and sum overall. And whatever you are getting is called expectation. Let us try to understand. Take the same example. If you toss a coin twice, that is my experiment. So there are 4 outcomes and my random variable is number of hits. So it could be 0, 1 and 2 as you say, right? For 0, the probability is 1 by 4. This outcome 0 hits. For 1, this 2, there are 1 hit, HT and TH. Okay. And for HF, there are 2 hits. So for 2, it is 1 by 4. So 2 out of 4, uh, 2 out of 4 is, that is 1 by 2. So X value is 1. So this you know. Now if you multiply this 0 and 1 by 4, 1 and 1 by 2, 2 and 1 by 4, and then add it, which means you take every random value, random variable value, and its probability, multiply the value and probability, and then add it together, which is sigma x px. X is a random variable value, and px is the probability that this is a random variable fix. So probability that x equal to 0 is 1 by 4. 1 is 1 by 2. So you do this and you see this is the answer, which is known as 1. So what does this interpretation is what? Expected value is 1. Yes, I'll repeat. Okay. What I am saying, expectation. Okay. Yes. Don't worry. I am telling you that please consider the same example. Tossing 2 coins. Tossing 2 coins. Okay, and the random variable is that number of heads. Okay, so if you toss the 2 coins, the sample space would be HH, HT, TH, and TP. Okay, so now if you take the number of heads would be 0. That is in the case of PT. Okay, in case of PT, and what is the probability is 1 by 4. Similarly, x equal to 1. So there are 2 outcomes, HT and TH. And what is the probability? 1 by 2. Very correct. Similarly, x equal to 2. There is just one outcome, HH, and the probability is 1 by 4. Because out of 4, there is one outcome where the random value is 2. So now if you take this 2, the value of random variable into its probability, 0 into 1 by 4, 1 into 1 by 2, and 2 into 1 by 4. 0 into 1 by 4, 1 into 1 by 2, and 2 into 1 by 4. If you do this, that means x into px, sigma x into p, probability of x. Px means probability of x. So random value, that is 0, 1, and 2, and probability of that is 0, its probability is 1 by 2. So 0 into 1 by 4. 1, its probability is 1 by 2. 1 into 1 by 2 plus 2, its probability is 1 by 2. So 2 into 1 by 2. If you do this, it is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, it is 1. Now, is this clear? Rishi, Urjit, does this make sense? Rishi? Yes. So what does this mean? The expected number of heads is 1. What is x? X is number of heads. So now what is E of x? E of x means expected number of heads. So expected number of heads is what answer you are getting? 1. If you toss a coin 2 times, okay, expected number of heads is 1. That is what it tries to say. Or this is a measure of average, okay, because you take a random variable in its probability. So probability is like frequency, right? And the random variable. So this way I multiply random value and its probability and then sum it across. And that would be an average estimate of that. And this is called an expectation of a random variable. This is not necessarily to be between 0 and 1. It can take a negative, positive, or any other real value. Okay. So, as I mentioned, it is also known as an average value of a random variable. Okay. So, Rishi, exactly not, because most number of possible cases means most frequent data. In this, it is coincidentally yes, but always it is not so. Just like suppose, what is your average marks? For example, somebody scores 50, 50 and 40. His average marks is 140 divided by 3. Average performance is this, right? So this way we take an average. Similarly, random variable can take different values with different probability. So this is a measure, okay, by which I can actually say expected or average value, not the most frequent value. In this example, it looks like so, but it is not always the case. That would be, but right now you can say, Rishi, it would be an average. Okay, getting what I'm saying? Okay. So, okay, the second example is there. So I would suggest please you try and tell me the answer. Okay, there are 162 students. Please try. Okay, so you have a toss a coin thrice. So I am tossing a coin thrice. So you know there are 8 outcomes starting from HHH to TTT. You know this, right? I should not repeat this. And my random variable is number of heads minus number of tails. Number of heads minus number of tails. So you know there are HT, HT, HT. So there are 8 outcomes. One could be all H, HHT, HTH, and so on. Okay. So if you take a random variable, it's differently written. Number of heads minus tails. So 3 heads, 0 tails. So 3 minus 0, 3. 2 heads, 1 tail. So 2 minus 1, 1. Similarly, 2 heads and 1 tail, 2 minus 1, 1. Now you can see here, 1 head and 2 tails. So 1 minus 2 minus 1. Okay, 1 minus 2 minus 1. THH, again 2 minus 1. And TTT, no head. So 0 head, 3 tails. So 0 minus 3 minus 3. So you can see even random variable can take a negative values. It's not a probability. Random variable is a real value. So it can be negative also. Okay, so now if you find an expectation of this, what would be the expectation? Yes, can somebody find out expected value of this X? In front of you, there is an example. Okay, you have to find the expectation of X. How many values are there possible? 4 values. 1 minus, random variable can take 1, minus 1, 3, and minus 3. Find out the probability of 1, minus 1, 3, and minus 3. And do this. 0. Very correct. Others are getting this. Rishi, Urjit, then Sayanish, right? Darsh, Day, Priyank. Yes. Okay. How? Then you see, out of 8, you are getting 3 times 1. 1 here, 1 here, and 1. So 3 by 8. Again, minus 1 is appearing 3 times. So 3 by 8. And 3 and minus 3 is just coming once. It is 1 by 8. Probability of 3 and minus 3 is 1 by 8. So if you take an expectation, it would be 0. If you take an expectation, it would be 0. So this is the thing that I want to focus. Now, very important thing, the properties of expectation. The properties of expectations are very much important to analysis purpose. So the very first thing is expectation is a linear operator. So what do you mean by that? So if you have two random variables x and y, if you have two random variables x and y, so you see, generally I show random variables by capital letter, capital X, capital Y. And a and b are some scalars. A and b are some scalars. Scalars means, what do you mean by scalars? Can I say 5 is a scalar? Yes. Okay. So something like -5, -4 is like a scalar, right? So a and b are scalar. So a could be 2, b could be -2. So e of ax plus by is a e of x plus b e of x. So if x and y are different random variables, then expectation of ax plus by is equal to, you can take a outside e of x plus b outside e of y, because a and b are constant or scalars. Okay, so this is the property. This is called a linearity of expectation. Remember, this is called linearity of expectation. So what do you mean by linearity of expectation? That, remember this e of ax plus by, okay, is equal to a times e of x plus b times e of y. So remember, if a and b are 1, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, then e of x plus y is equal to e of x plus e of y. Okay, this means a linear. E is a linear operator. Linear operator. That means if you take a first expectation of individual random variables and then add it together, or you do vice versa, both things are same. Okay, this is one property. Is, as I mentioned, a equal to 1, b equal to 1, then this is. Okay, is this, can you understand this property from linearity? This mark in red. Expectation of, this is a sigma. Sigma means summation. Xi's are random variables. Okay, let us say x1, x2 to xn are random variables. Okay, and there are n random variables. So I take e of x1 plus x2 plus so on and xn, that is same as sigma of e of xi. So I can interchange these two things. I can take this here and I can take this e inside. Yes. So how it is true? So let us take this e of sigma xi. So you know what is sigma xi? X1 plus x2 so on xn. Now these all are random variables. According to linearity of expectation, this e is a linear operator. So you know e of x plus y is e of x plus e of y. Same way, there are n random variables. I can extend that e of x1 plus e of x2 plus so on e of x. Okay, so because e is linear, and now this can be written as sigma e of xi, which is RHS. What does that mean? That expectation of summation is same as summation of expectation, and this is called a linear property, and this is many a times we will use in analysis of algorithms. This property we will use. Is this clear or not? Yes. Yes. Okay. What about other students? I mean, I don't know the names, but I hope you will interact, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is expectation of, so that means you can interchange what? You can interchange sigma and E. The expectation operator and sigma that you can interchange. Okay. Now you tell me, what is an expectation? My question to you, what is an expectation of indicator random variable? What is an expectation of indicator random variable? Okay. What is indicator random variable? So let's say event is A. Okay, what is an indicator random variable associated with A? It is either 1 or it is either 0. Okay, so value is either 1 or 0. Okay, so no, Sainish, it is incorrect. 1 is not correct. So what is this? Indicator random variable is it's either 1 or 0. 1 if event occurs and 0 if event does not occur. So what is expectation? This is E of A is a random variable. So when 1 will occur, when event A will occur. When event A will occur, its probability will be probability of A. When 0 will occur, when event does not occur. Event does not occur means its complement event will occur, which means 0 into the probability of A complement. So when event occurs, I of A will be 1. This is a value. So 1 into event A occurs means its probability of event A. 0 means event A does not occur. So 0 into probability of A does not occur means A complement occurs. But 0 into something is 0. So expectation of indicator random variable is probability of that event. This is very important result as far as the analysis is concerned. Okay, expectation of indicator random variable associated with event A is same as probability of event A. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? This is very important. So please reply me whether you are getting or not. Not quite. So what is the problem? This is a random variable. What is expectation of random variable? Random variable value into probability of that. So what is a random variable? I of A. It takes a value 1. So it takes a value 1. When it will take a value 1? When that event A occurs. So what is the probability of event A? Because expectation is, as you know, what is expectation? Okay, sigma x into probability of that event. Okay, this x equal to x is a random variable value and probability of that value. So there are only two values here. There are only two values here, just the 1 and 0. But 1 occurs when event A occurs. So this is a x into probability of x, means probability of event A. Doesn't occur. 0 into probability of A complement means 0. So 1 into probability of A is probability of A plus 0, which is expectation of indicator random variable is same as probability of event A. I hope, Rishi, this is clear or not now? I of A is a random variable which is either 0 or 1. Okay, so I stop here, but up to this everybody is clear, right? Everybody is getting this. Up to this, any doubt? Okay, it's clear, right? Yes, sorry, the PDFs. Okay, that okay. Just a minute. I'll share you the PDF. Okay, this is a link. You will find every lecture covered by me and MSB sir. The material related to lectures, content of lectures will be there here. Okay, and this is a classroom code. Okay, sorry, classroom code. So please join this classroom. Classroom is useful for lab sessions as well as for internal exams. And this link that you are seeing, there I have already uploaded the material of today's lecture. MSB sir's material will be also uploaded on the Google. Is it okay? Yes, Sayanish, Jainish, Rishi, are you able to access this? Please respond me so that I can, yes. Yes. And please join the classroom as well. Please, all of you, I request you to join. Okay. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we will see the remaining.